I'm actually excited for this one. I feel like we were talking about last week that we don't get into heated debates like Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless type dynamic.
We might today.
Yeah, like I hear you hate the episode.
I did.
You hate love.
I don't hate love. I just hated what they did with the episode. Pissed me off. Thought they had we get into it?
You're not a strawberry guy?
I actually don't like strawberries.
Wow. You're coming in
I
hot, man. What the hell?
I don't like strawberries. They're too bitter for me.
We haven't even got
It's like this.
I do that face
like a lemon?
Yeah.
Are you eating just lemons?
No, I'm eating strawberries.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Try
I'm
them.
eating
making
yellow
sure.
strawberries.
Then it's like they're like beady and like taste like there's
They've
like
got
sand.
a little venom to them, a little
You know?
taste of sourness, but I love strawberries.
Yeah, you need to get like a good strawberry.
Like
Maybe
the
try
outside of it is like beady. It's like
no, it's
eating
not.
Braille.
Oh.
You're getting these.
Well, this is because you don't wash your strawberries, Mr. Immune System.
It's you see the bead on them, the black fucking dots on them.
There's little
it's not like
creatures
they're
living
not
in there
like
too. If
poppy
you get a
seeds.
microscope,
You barely even notice them.
That's a better way to put it instead
Do you
of
like
beady.
poppy seeds?
Yeah.
Well, then what's your beef?
I don't know. It's healthy, maybe. That's the beef.
you just don't like that it's good for you.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like the kid like who.
I don't like the taste, man. Fucking sue me. Sorry, I don't like strawberries. I don't like juice flowing around my mouth.
A lot of tension between you two since the whole violent incident. Now this
Yeah.
big strawberry debate.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go at you. So be ready.
Let's go.
Yeah, you sound ready.
By the end, how much you want to bet? Side wager.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Well,
fold?
honestly, Teddy was
Yeah,
giving
you're gonna like the episode by the
No,
end.
I'm kind
Because I already
of.
know what you're gonna say about it, and I think we have good rebuttals, and you're gonna be like, oh.
No.
You
I
know
already-
what? He was kind of catching me when we were texting back and forth.
He was catching you?
Yeah, a little bit. He was swaying me because of the way he was painting a picture of what he wanted to see, and I'm like, damn, I would have liked to have
I
seen
can't
that.
play
too.
the what we want game, can we?
Yeah, we can because we're watching the damn show.
It's
That's
America.
what we want. We played the game. It's what I wanted to see. And I didn't see it. I saw something completely different. And I'm not happy about it.
All right, let's get into it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Beau Oliver, joined here today with Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and Teddy. And we are here to talk about not only The Last of Us Episode 3, but the first 3 episodes. Episodes 1 through 3, we're going to talk about how we feel about this adaptation, if it's met our expectations so far, what we're anticipating for the rest of the season, and yeah, we'll mostly talk about Episode 3. Or we'll do a lot of discussion surrounding Episode 3, because Teddy's got some thoughts, and Aaron's got some rebuttals, and I may be somewhere in the middle, even though I was a big fan of the episode.
I got a theory. It's like one of his only opportunities to be like in the book is better guy. And this is his version of the book is better guy.
He
Is,
does
oh, well,
love
in the
that.
game.
Did you play the game? You played it, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So this is like your opportunity to be that guy.
So you're telling me after episode 1 and 2, you weren't ready for a nice fucking action sequence?
Well,
To-
before
to
we
get
get
into
into
it.
that,
Plug
you guys
the-
can listen to this episode, of course, here on YouTube and across all the podcasting platforms that we publish to. So wherever you want to listen, follow us on social media at Beau Soup, at Nerd Soup, and at Teddy Nerd Soup, and at Nerd Soup Monkey. That's your at, right?
Don't act like you've been doing this for how long?
I sometimes forget if it's Aaron, the Nerd Soup. I don't know. My brain is mush. Teddy, continue. Sorry to cut you off there because I see you just chomping.
That's all right.
Go ahead.
You know, I will say, before I say how much I hated it, is that when me and Beau
That's
were...
such a strong word.
Me and Beau were texting, and as an episode, it was emotional and it was written very well. But I don't like what they did with it. There was no reason for this whole sequence. Bill and Frank did nothing for the game. Why are they conquered an entire episode with Bill and Frank's love? What was the point of that? We got nowhere with the story. They took out one of a great action sequence in the game with going to the zombie infested school, getting the battery, progressing the story forward. We could have got great sequences with Ellie and Joel. We didn't get any. We got nothing of them. I would have loved to see maybe, like you said with the letter at the end, that would have meant more if we would have saw more with Bill and Frank with Tess and Joel. I mean, as a viewer, we don't know that Bill and Joel have Bill and Joel have like a great relationship where he left him his entire arsenal.
I think your strongest point is, and I've seen this on the internet from people who have played the game, is that people who haven't are going to say, if they really don't take to the character of Bill, it's like, who is this? Mm-hmm. Am I supposed to feel some type of way about this?
It felt forced.
But I think for the most part, people who haven't played the game did enjoy that relationship.
I'm not going to say I didn't. I enjoyed what they did. Like, it was nice watching. It was very emotional at the end. But when it was done, I was just like, what the fuck did I just watch? Like, what was all this?
there is a little element of why are these two so important, where it's like if you haven't played the game, and it's weird because they dedicate all this time to Bill because of his role in the game. It was just so moving and so well done, and I think thematically,
I think that's what you
develops.
respect. You just respect that it was so that whole sequence was well done. But do you agree that it did nothing for the story and there was no reason for it?
It does. Okay, it's not pushing the narrative forward, even though obviously they get the battery and they're able to go out on their journey to find Tommy. But it's about developing the themes and showing Joel. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people make this point of what he could possibly become if he does open his heart to human connections, specifically with Ellie. I mean, that's the character he's on this journey with. But yeah, I think some of your criticisms are legit, where it could have been stronger if the episode was extended by 20-30 minutes and maybe we see Frank, Bill, Joel, and Tess go on some sort of adventure. I think that is legitimate to an extent, but to me it was just so well told and so well acted and so well written that it doesn't bother me so much that we didn't get more time with that foursome together.
Yeah.
You know, the dinner scene was enough. And I think the conversations that Joel had with Bill were super important, and it all leads to that moment at the end there with the letter, and that you're going back to your main characters, and like I said, you're developing the themes of human connection and finding love in a hopeless place, as the great Rihanna once said. So that's going to go a long way for the story down the road. But I don't think all of your criticisms can be dismissed. I think you make some almost fair points.
Almost.
Well, I agree with you on like reestablishing its themes or actually laying a foundation for its future themes. I think it gives you another perspective. It helps build the world and show a different perspective of the situation through the eyes of different people than our main characters to help reinforce a lot of what's gonna, like I said, what's happening now and what's gonna come ahead. I guess it is, because I said this in a regular review. To do it episode 3 of season 1 is like a ballsy move.
No, definitely.
Because this reminds me of an episode you would see in an established show, season 3, episode 6. What was your opinion on like The Fly from Breaking Bad?
The Fly?
The Fly episode?
Funny. I thought it was a great episode.
So like, Breaking Bad is already established at the point of that episode. But it
4
is
seasons in?
It is similar in a sense, even though it is Walter and Jesse. It does take a sidestep from your main narrative to reinforce a lot of the themes and what's going on within his world. And I think you can view this episode in the same vein as that, where it's mirroring a lot of things, but just showing it through a different perspective. And I think that helps really build what you're trying to do. Again, I will agree on well, you didn't even make this point, but like, I do think part of the reason why you might be turned off from an episode that strays from the narrative is because we're really just getting started here. And to do it episode 3 to take that step, I could see why a lot of people are like a little surprised, where you can still like the episode and appreciate everything that it was trying to do, but it is a little jarring at first. But yeah, I just think that it was a risky move, and I think it paid off well, because you do, especially when you connect it to Joel, and maybe it helps that we've played the games, kind of knowing where certain things go or how certain characters are, that when you see that reflected in Bill and Frank, you kind of can piece that together and really appreciate what they were going for there. And at the end of the day, like, this isn't going to take away, like, they're still going to hit all right, let's say we're at the end of the season, right? And we're like, man, this feels rushed. They skipped over this. They skipped over that. Like, it was kind of messy at the end. Then I think you can go back and make that a criticism that, well, why did we spend 45 minutes with Bill and Frank, that 2 characters that we're never going to see again? But if at the end of the season, everything is just banging on all cylinders, they hit everything you need and everything is working out, I think you look back at that episode and be like, it may with like a different lens, because like, I can see if that's the case for you to be upset, but up until this point, there's no reason to me to think that like this episode derailed the show or derailed the narrative to a point that disrupts the rest of the season.
I don't think it derailed it, but I'm saying like, we're heating up, and then you turn the burner off, and we get into this. Like, it's a zombie apocalypse show.
Yeah, but
and
like,
we're getting into it. We're about to get into it. We have a perfect scene for it, a perfect time for it.
The Walking Dead, just nonstop, mindless action. I like that they take a moment to take a step back and show different things, perspectives, how these characters can find love in this post-apocalyptic wasteland.
You
and
wanted to say it.
what?
You should have said it.
This hopeless place?
Hopeless place.
No, I can't. You already said it.
But we're not in a hopeless place. We're in a fucking zombie apocalypse.
Pretty damn hopeless.
Bill comes back in the game and he's hanging. Show me that.
He's a
That's
little-
grit, man.
Well, okay.
Battered and bruised, Bill, with Joel and Ellie going to a zombie-infested school.
I think there was definitely in the back of their minds, because that relationship, back in 2013, the standard was this character may or may not be gay.
It was implied.
But we'll keep it ambiguous. Here, it's just very explicit. It's undeniable. So when the fans are saying, oh, they made Bill gay, it's like, well, it was always there, but...
Wait, they were gay?
But I don't think it was treated as tastefully as it was here. So I think that it was a makeup, a redo, for them to be able to portray this relationship, because it's something you rarely do see in media. And this doesn't speak to the quality, but you do have to commend them for taking this route of portraying this tasteful relationship between two older men. That's something you rarely see. Two older gay men in a very loving, very tender relationship.
Two grizzly men.
Right, who end up finding the perfect partner for each other, and then they're able to live this happy life for a couple of decades until it ends tragically, but it is a bittersweet ending. So you do have to commend them for that. But once again, you have to remember the criticisms that were levied at them for the way the relationship was portrayed in the game. But your point, I think, is fair, because even though it could have been handled more tastefully in the game, it does reaffirm how brutal this world is, and that you can lose your partner in such a tragic way where he doesn't want to tell you he's been bitten and he takes his own life. So I would be lying if I said I didn't want to watch Nick Offerman as Bill totally fuck up some zombies with his giant butcher's knife he used to run around with, and all his ammo and his gear. So they took another approach with it, and it's just...
But now what? So now, is this show packing itself where now the next episode has to be an absolute, heater of action?
Well, just based on that first trailer, it looks like it's going to be straight from the games when they have that encounter with the... skip ahead 10 seconds if you don't want to hear this. With the Raiders.
Okay.
So it looks like it's going to be action-packed, that Joel's going to show why he's got this reputation, and that Ellie may learn a thing or two about surviving from Joel. That's part of the relationship, too, is Ellie learning, not only them establishing their relationship, father-daughter sort of relationship, but her learning the ropes, because she's never been outside, and we've seen that time and time again throughout these first 3 episodes of how amazed she is by everything. But now let's put some fucking fear into her.
But also Joel starts to grow respect for Ellie as they start battling with each other. I just don't want to keep skipping over Ellie being a badass and growing her respect from Joel.
I don't think this takes away from any of that. We're gonna get right back to Ellie and Joel next episode.
What if we don't?
Hour-long backstory, and
you never know now.
The thing they've done so well, and I think they did it similarly in part 2, where the story is still very personal and is a human story, but they widen the scope. It's a bit more epic, bigger set pieces. And I think they're trying to do that here as well, not only with the flashbacks and the backstories they're giving us about the outbreak in different places, different countries, but it's about highlighting these other stories, because that's what people really like these days. They like when it's an ensemble, when there are different perspectives and different storylines. And I think that's an approach they're going to take as they continue to build this show, because it's got so much potential for spin-offs and focusing on the Fireflies and focusing more on the politics and how the world works.
Well,
and I think that's a small little taste of it.
Yeah.
That it's not going to be just... Joel and Ellie are still the most important parts of the show, but how do you keep people's interests in 2022? It's about giving them different tastes.
But
and
now we're
different
getting
shades.
into more characters. This could have been an episode with Bill, with Joel and Ellie. Now, as the season goes on, we're going to keep getting into more characters, and now you have to...
I don't know how many times this is going to happen, but I think they'll replace the high school raid with more action down the line.
Yeah.
When certain characters do enter the story without spoiling anything. So I think that's... And you also have to think about budget constraints. So we don't know what the budget is. That information may be out there. But in a video game, it's easier to just constantly do these action set pieces. In a show, you do have to figure out, okay, when are we going to focus on the action? You don't want to just blow your load in the beginning of season 3.
I think you want to save it, too. You don't want,
episode 3.
Non-stop action all the time. You want to make it mean something and have an impact when it does, in fact, happen. And also, even going back to episode 2, I know it's not as long, but that whole cold open sequence, I guess it adds to the background and everything and has some exposition pieces that you can connect to our main storyline, but just because like that is a precursor to the show and explains some of the things, I think it's on the same level as in terms of like what it does for the story as something like with Bill and Frank when you reinforce those themes. Like they both are excellent tools to help you tell a story. So I guess but I guess that's easier to digest. Well, I think for some people it might be easier to digest that little prelude just because, it explains like what's going on here and gives more backstory. Well, I think this does the same thing in a different way. So
I think if it was all released at once and I can go from episode to episode, now I'm sitting on this for a week. I can digest it better, knowing I can go to the next one.
And it was also it was an hour and 20 minutes. So like you still got 15 minutes in the beginning and 15 minutes at the end of Joel and Ellie. You still got a half hour, which is pretty much what you would expect for most episodes of a series to spend on their main characters.
I'm also not saying I need an hour and 20 of action. I just don't think I needed an hour of Bill and Frank, who's not going to be in the season, in the episode, in the series anymore.
Well, just seeing what people who haven't played the games are taking away from the episode, to me, is very interesting, because that letter, and I said this on the first review, similar to Tess's final words, save who you can save. It's reaffirming that belief in Joel. And I think he's tiptoeing towards a genuine relationship with Ellie. But I like I said, I think that letter is going to go a long way, where that's a scene we're going to look back on at the end of the season or in future seasons and say, man, that certainly had an impact on Joel. So I think it plays an important role in that respect. To Aaron's point, I think the stuff with Joel and Ellie was really, really strong in this episode. Especially the beginning part, when he's filling her in on how the outbreak happened, when they're overlooking the plane crash, and then the graveyard of the people that weren't even infected, but Fedra decided to assassinate them anyway.
And then felt that one too, because he was about to be one of them.
Right.
That first episode.
Right. So I think the stuff with Ellie and Joel was very, very strong. And the scene with Ellie confronting the zombie, to me, you get no lines of dialogue there. It's all visual storytelling.
Yeah.
The visual storytelling has been fantastic throughout these first 3 episodes. But that develops Ellie's character and shows us how she harbors this. Why does she hate the zombie so much? We can guess that it's because she probably lost someone that was close to her. And they do mention it in episode 2. It's a quick line between Tessa and Ellie. The detour, to me, even though I love Bill from the game and I love that sequence from the game, I'm fine with it. So, yeah.
Each his own.
Right. But didn't you love the way it was set up when they do go back to Bill and he's like James Bond. He's watching them all on the monitors.
Yeah, I loved it.
Right.
Yeah.
He knows all the preparations already. And
he fortified a town.
Well, all right, so I'll give you this.
Are you kidding? He held off the raiders and he was shot. Like, his fortified held off those raiders.
Seems like a pretty cool guy, huh?
Okay, but I do have a criticism there, because even though visually it was awesome, that tracking shot we get of Frank and him trying to find Bill, the raiders were like NPCs, just straight up running into the fire, and we can't really tell what Bill is doing. He just looks really cool with the sniper. I mean, I think he does take some of them out with shots.
I mean, there are like 15 around him, and no one's hitting him. He's just in the middle of the street.
That
shooting.
could have been better. I think that was a wasted opportunity. You can't give me him in like a crow's
nest on the house or something?
Yeah. I think there was an opportunity there to show us. I mean, the preparations were awesome, and just the traps. And
I'm surprised he didn't resent Joel, thinking maybe he set him up for that. Because, I mean, I don't know how long it was from when they first met.
Well, Joel warned him. He was like, listen,
that's kind of a good coincidence, huh? The day he leaves.
Yeah, that could have been interesting. Like, hey, what the fuck?
But you could have got into that. You could have seen how their relationship build, and now that letter means more to people who don't know the game.
Let me paint you a picture. We get that exact same episode.
Okay.
But Bill doesn't kill himself. And then when Ellie and Joel get to town, Bill is like Bill from the games. And they still have their little sequence.
Is this all the same episode?
Be a long-ass episode. But, like, maybe the episode ends with them coming in and Bill's there. And he's just like... And they have, like, the similar
I would love it.
aspect of the game. And then maybe next episode they do their thing with the school and get the battery and yada, yada, yada.
I would love it, because when we get another episode with Bill in for the next episode, and they're going, it's just for one episode, and Bill's gone, and Frank, I just didn't see the point of it.
But then you don't get that beautiful gesture of him wanting to die with the man he loves.
Yeah.
So, and we hear that all the time when old people pass away, and then quickly after their partner will pass as well. So, even though he takes matters into his own hands by
fairy tale,
crushing up all those. Well, it was sort of like a fairy tale, because of look at this happy life that they're living. in the midst of a zombie
It's all
apocalypse.
fake. It's all fake.
Right, but it's a perfect chance encounter. But I think that's beautiful for the character of Bill, because he said that until he met Frank, he didn't think that there was anybody in the world worth saving. So it's the difference, like I said in the first review, between surviving and living. And Frank was that perfect partner because, when he walks in and he sees the dust, right? Well, and when they skip ahead to 3 years, the house is a bit more clean.
No, he was playing as the game that first day.
No, sure, he was definitely playing the game because I think he reads that Bill is a lonely man who is craving this sort of companionship.
He's a rat, so he took advantage of him.
When they do skip
That's what I
ahead
thought
3
too. I'm
years
like,
later,
He's gonna kill him. He's gonna kill
when
Bill.
he's like, well, he's like,
And then Frank's gonna pose as Bill.
basically said, he's like, it's like I don't just fuck for food, so like I'm gonna stay for a few days. It's kind of like, I see what you did there. That old trick, huh?
but even the way he's able to read them. So they give him 3, right? Where he compliments the pairing of the wine, and then he notices the piano and says, "Oh, I know this is for you." And then he asks him about, who are you singing for? And Bill says, "There is no girl," and he says, "I know." So once again, to go to an old cliche, it's the difference between a house and a home. Frank comes there and he makes it a home. There's flowers and it's more cleaned up, and he's painting. He just brightens Bill's day, his life, really. Entirely.
I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't warranted there. I mean, yeah, he needed to be there. He probably added some years on the Bill. But I'm saying, I don't know.
No, he quite literally took some years away from Bill.
Ended him shortly. Bill, a perfect bill of health. He had a strong 20 left in him, I think.
But I also get your point of, if we're going to spend so much time on them, it almost feels like we need to spend even more time, because some of those scenes and relationships feel a little underdeveloped. So one of our favorite sayings, "Have your cake and eat it too." I think they pulled it off, because by the end, I mentioned on the first review that I was emotionally drained by the chronicling of this relationship over the course of 15, 17 years or so. I don't know, I just keep going back to, it worked for me, and I think it really just comes down to that for this episode, because I know we have 6 episodes left.
It's like,
and I also know some of the
beginning.
things that are coming, so I'll be frustrated if we get to episode 9 and I haven't seen Joel bash some skulls in, because I really want to see that. And we've seen some of it. Like episode 2, there were some great moments with the zombies, and then episode 3, slow it up a bit. Develop your themes, introduce us to some characters who, even though they're not going to be around physically, emotionally, they're going to have an immense impact on the rest of the season.
I guess it's like a crock pot. Take some time to stew. It's going to take a little bit to.
But I'll be interested to hear
right.
your thoughts if we're by episode 7, episode 8, and it's just like the way you felt playing the game. This is incredible. What an amazing ending that we're gearing up here for. That you'll look back on episode 3 and be like, I'm cool with it now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming off it, watching it last night. I'm still sitting on it. It's like what you said. It's hard to judge it because it is episode 3 and the season's not over. So, but for right now, I'm not happy. We'll see what they do with it. We'll see where they go.
I feel like you'll be over it by next week if episode 4 is an absolute banger.
It would be. If it is a banger, I'll be over it. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see any.
Maybe I'll appreciate it.
I mean, I like I said, I would be lying if I said I didn't want to see Nick Offerman in more action sequences, or if seeing Bill and Ellie's interactions, because they were funny from the game. But it's a change where it's not that dramatic of a change where I'm so upset, because Bill, even though his part is fun, it comes and goes.
In the grand scheme of things, it's not like it changes, like you said.
Bill doesn't make
change
or
the
break
story.
the game.
No,
no.
It just would have been a nice sequence to have.
It was also such a good casting. Like when he takes off the mask, you're like, "That's Bill. That's our Nick Offerman Bill. Yeah. What the hell is this guy going to do this episode?" Because I wasn't anticipating them to go that far into the love story. I knew that Frank was going to appear and they would get into how their relationship started. Yeah. But I thought eventually it would come to present day, and maybe they were both there, or Frank had killed himself. So I was just itching for some Offerman action sequences. I didn't get them, but what I got, I was very satisfied with anyway. So, but I do understand your criticisms, and it hasn't gone without its criticisms, even though it has been so highly rated. And that's always going to happen when you're adapting something based on source material, and you take a departure.
That's what threw me off too, was that critically acclaimed rating. And I mean, it was written beautifully, but I thought it was critically acclaimed for other reasons, like.
Right. Well, like I said, when you portray a relationship that tastefully, that's normally not portrayed in media, and you do it well, you're going to get a lot of praise.
Yeah.
Because it's not enough to just show it. It does have to be good. You know, if the relationship was really cheesy and cliche and those emotional moments didn't hit, I'd be very critical of it.
Imagine they didn't hit. Imagine this didn't work.
That's part of the risk, especially, like I said, doing it this early. If, like, it wasn't just poorly written or very surface level, then, yeah, I would be like, what the fuck was this about? Like, but they made you invest in those characters and care about their story. And it was almost like a short film where you're almost, it's not like you forget about Joel and Ellie, but you're so focused in on these characters and you want to see where their story goes and where they end up. And I think keeping that interest level and intriguement throughout those sequences is what made it so special. And to be able to convey such a convincing, like, love story within 45 minutes, I think is very impressive. And yeah, I think in a vacuum, if you look at it, like, I don't think you really can complain because it is just a very well done story with two incredible performances. But when you want to take a look at the bigger picture, then I guess a lot of people would share your opinion and be like, well, we've just met these characters and now they're gone. What was the point?
Well, I think what made it work so well, there are a lot of elements working well in this episode, but focusing on the performances, they gave their characters so much personality, where you know who these characters exactly are after one encounter. Just from the dinner scene and the piano scene and the scene where they do have sex, you just know everything you need to know about these characters. So when they skip ahead and they're bickering back and forth, it's like, yeah, that's how Frank and Bill would bicker when he's calling him out about his beliefs that everything is a conspiracy and the government are all Nazis. And it, like I said, they gave their characters so much personality just through that line delivery. Like, they all are Nazis. He's like, I know, but, you know, not before. Yeah. So it's like the delivery in those lines right there where it's just such a convincing relationship. They had great chemistry, and Murray Bartlett has done this before in White Lotus because he won an Emmy. So it's not the first time he's done this.
My whole job loves that show, White Lotus.
I've heard such great things about it. I definitely need to watch it. HBO's just been killing it lately, and he's been killing it for HBO. So he's like their secret weapon. And Offerman, I mean, if you watch Parks and Rec, you're just like, this is wrong. Well, you haven't, right?
No, I know who he was, though.
There's a character on Parks and Rec that he plays. It's literally Bill.
I've seen like a bunch of clips from him.
This is exactly what Ron Swanson would do. And I thought it was funny to fulfill a male fantasy. I talked about this with Aaron. I don't know if you've done this, where you look up a year's supply of rations or a year's supply of water, how to build.
Yeah, you could.
What's wrong with you guys? I've never once even considered.
Are you serious?
Well, you don't have those survival instincts.
You never want to just know.
You always talk about how you would just
if I needed a year's worth of beans, like,
why live? Like, what are we doing at that point?
I mean,
you might find your Frank. That's why.
I mean, I'm telling you, if I'm in the apocalypse, I would rather just go out early.
No, I don't have the bunker. I'm wandering through the woods and I stumble.
Oh, you're the wanderer.
I can't create a fortress.
Yeah, that was a little excessive, though. I mean, this guy fortified an entire town. He fortified a town, dude.
He was ready
to fortify a town.
Yeah, the game plan.
All you have to do is build a fence, some traps. I mean, I don't have any of those skills, but he's been developing.
So don't act like you're prepared.
Oh no, I'm not prepared, but I like the idea of maybe one day I could be. Like I said, it was the male fantasy. The apocalypse finally came, and he's the one who's self-sufficient. He can make his own food.
Yeah, because he was the crazy one that thought they were Nazis, and he made a bunker.
That's what we pointed out in the first review. Before this outbreak, everyone walked past his house like, oh, there's Crazy Bill.
Yeah.
Peeking out the window, peeking through his cameras. And it was absolutely perfect casting. I think Offerman, I don't know, maybe he's being frustrated by the typecasting because he does seem to get selected for these types of roles.
Well, I think this character...
That's why typecasting can be good sometimes.
It has more depth than anything I think he's done. Very surface Ron Swanson, but Ron was always a softie down deep inside. So
you like plums.
But when you like dig into like the character and kind of take away some of those barriers, like Frank did with Bill, literally, like I think, you know, it really showed his range as an actor. And I wasn't surprised by his performance because I know he is good, but like I was really just taken aback by how well he was able to portray that character. Both of them.
I was. I didn't think he had that in him.
Yeah, I think the words career best come to mind because even though he's had some good performances, He became an icon with Ron Swanson. A lot of people loved him in Devs if they didn't necessarily love the show overall. I thought you couldn't take your eyes off of him in Devs.
Yeah, he was really good.
Just his presence alone. But here, like I said, career best. Like Aaron mentioned, just so much depth to this character. There were so many layers that he was able to tackle, and he nailed it time and time again. All the emotional beats. And same thing with Murray Bartlett. Just them together, like I mentioned, through their performances, so much personality, so much chemistry, that at the end I was just so satisfied with the whole thing. And that final shot, just thinking about it gives me chills. The open window, so peaceful, even though
I wanted to see
they
it.
took their own lives. It is a very... You want to... Yo, I thought through for a second, I was like, yo, don't show me these fucking bodies.
I thought they were. Just
You
to
know
give
that
you
room's stinking something special, man.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful shot, but like if you're there, that point of view, you can't breathe.
Oh!
Yeah.
The fuck is that smell?
The undigested rabbit just
Yeah.
in their stomachs.
You're telling me Joel didn't check upstairs?
Detail. That's disgusting.
Yeah, well,
You're telling me
That's
Joel
what's
didn't go
going
upstairs
on.
and check before the
Hell
note?
no, Joel knows
You don't check
that.
the whole house?
one thing.
Well, I think, sorry, Aaron, to cut you off,
Yeah.
but somebody pointed this out, that Joel notices the flowers out front have withered away.
I saw that too.
And so he kind of realizes, oh, Frank would never let that happen. Something bad happened here.
Did he carry Frank up the stairs? So definitely on the
I
second
think he
floor.
did, yeah.
Uh-huh.
He's got the strength for that. I mean, he was an older man at that time.
Yeah.
Did they have those lifts that he sits in and goes up?
He probably whipped something up.
I'm sure Bill could do that. Yeah,
It's
that's
an
easy.
old school pulley system.
It's like,
What would be your perfect day? Like you're calling it, and you gotta set up a day.
I throw a bed in early in the morning.
You're gonna bet your last day
Absolutely.
before you die.
Absolutely.
Money that you're not gonna be able to use if
Yeah.
you win.
I
I
need
wonder
to
if
throw.
they got betting there. Yeah, what are they betting on? All right, guys, before we move on to the second half of this video,
Is
I'm
that a
gonna
good
give
timer for this?
Yeah, it was. Why'd you? Yeah, I finally remembered it, and then you interrupted me. All right, guys, before we get to the second half of this video, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, and that would be Storyblocks.
Hey.
Calling all content creators, I want to take a quick moment of your time to introduce you to Storyblocks. Storyblocks has one of the largest libraries of royalty-free footage, templates, music, and photo assets on the internet. Plus, they have an easy-to-use video editor and unlimited downloads that allow you to easily test out different effects, clips, or tracks in order to bring your creative vision to life. New content is added regularly, prioritizing in-demand keywords, so you always have what you need to stay current with trends and news. Unlike other stock companies, Storyblocks offers subscription plans for a set price. No credit systems that drain your budget or those pesky hidden fees. Storyblocks makes payments simple so you can stop worrying about your budget and take back creative control. Choose from thousands of pre-made professional templates for your favorite editing programs, including After Effects, Premiere Pro, or Apple Motion, to take your videos to the next level and speed up your creative workflow. For Adobe users, Storyblocks is now introducing Storyblocks plugin for Premiere Pro. The Storyblocks plugin helps you streamline your creative process by bringing their library directly into your editor. You can easily discover and download new content without switching between platforms, giving you more time for important things, like creating. So head on over to storyblocks.com/nerdsoup and pick a plan that is right for you. You may be interested in an individual plan, or for larger creative teams, you can sign up for their business subscription, which provides all the benefits of a Storyblocks subscription, plus additional benefits like shared folders, administrative controls, download to cloud functionality, and more. So, like we said, head on over to storyblocks.com/nerdsoup and pick a plan that is right for you. Check out Storyblocks, guys. You know, they do have some really good stuff there. Good music, royalty-free, templates, as I just mentioned in the spot that we just read.
No, it definitely helps like content creators and stuff like that.
No, yeah.
Because it is a pain trying to get the.
Do we use it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
I'm not in on like the inside
The
stuff here.
day-to-days,
You know? Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk big picture for these first 3 episodes. Just,
Okay.
How do you think the start of the show was?
9, and depending on how the rest of the season goes, I'm going to start this at like a 7.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
That's super fair.
You're throwing around hate. You were throwing around stupid.
But I
You
didn't
just
like it.
hate it more. It's like conceptually. You just don't like the approach of.
I didn't hate it. I hated it because of what I was expecting to see, and then I got that.
Well, not conceptually, but yeah.
I don't like
You
that, though.
acknowledge objectively that it's a good episode of
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
It's a very mature take from you. More people on the internet should take after.
Yeah, I mean,
that
I'm not giving this-
way of thinking.
Like I'm saying, I respect what they did. They did a really good job of portraying these two, but it's not what I wanted to see. So I didn't like it.
I respect that. I do, because people will be like, "Oh, it's the worst fucking episode of television I've ever seen in my life." When objectively, it's fucking.
No, I'm not,
not even
I'm not
close.
laughing at that. I'm just laughing at.
At me?
No, just life. Just this moment.
At me? Because I'm in this moment.
No, we're laughing with you. Well, I'm laughing with you.
It's more of like it's like.
No, wait, no, I was laughing that you said that more people should take after Teddy.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Well, like I said, first 3 episodes, big picture here. I've mentioned this several times, but I just love the way that they're giving us this added information that we didn't get in the game about how the outbreak started and how people reacted to it.
Absolutely.
Those scenes have been so strong. And I think overall, when you compare it to the game, you could argue it's off to a better start. And that's not surprising because the big criticism of the game was that it's too cinematic and that it should be told through television, and that's how you can get the most out of it. So just reacting to these first 3 episodes, my expectations have gone through the roof almost, mostly concerning the potential of what they can do with this world. And I don't know if they're going to go that route, but they've set up so many different breadcrumbs, and they're really polishing up the peripherals of the world. So I'm excited for the potential of what this universe can be, and especially for the rest of the season. Just knowing where it's going, I'm like, man, if they fucking nail this.
I know.
Neil Druckmann tweeted it out. Why is everybody crying? That was the happy episode. And yeah, that's fun. Some nice foreboding.
That says a lot, though, right. I guess.
So I've been really, really impressed by it. It's basically, if you told me this is what it was going to look like, I'd be like, that's great. That's a really strong adaptation. And it speaks to the team behind it, because even though the source material is so good, we've seen it time and time again, great source material doesn't make for a great adaptation. You need to respect it. You need to care about it. Bringing in Neil Druckmann, you made this point a few weeks ago. He knows the game better than anyone. He knows it inside and out. Right. And I think I mentioned this, that he's getting an opportunity to get a redo on some of the things that maybe don't hold up as well 10 years later from a storytelling standpoint.
Yeah, but it is why we got the Bill and Frank story.
Yeah, no, I think it is partially because of that, because the relationship, that's how those relationships were always portrayed at the time. And Hollywood's, to put it lightly, has struggled in portraying these types of relationships, gay relationships, queer relationships, positively, under a light of compassion and understanding, rather than just saying, hey, they're gay, that's good enough, right? No, let them actually feel like human characters, tackle that humanity without skating around any of it. And they did that so brilliantly here. But that's why I'm excited for, what are the other changes in store? Hopefully not too many.
I know.
Like episode 5 is a musical. The zombies are just Nick City dancers and shit. But I'm excited because I think there's always a chance. It's like rewriting an essay, right? There's always something you can find you don't want to over-polish it, but there's always mistakes that you can address and things that you can fix. So, first 3 episodes to me, 999.
Okay, Hitler.
That's a police code for a murder.
Oh. Yeah, I agree. I think so far it's been pretty great. Obviously, I mean, like you said, getting Neil Druckmann aboard, that's something we always talked about with video game adaptations. It's like, first of all, you have what makes the video game so good is the game itself. So play the game, understand the game, and adapt using that. Don't take the concept of the game and then do your own thing. You bring on Neil Druckmann to help you along and help you understand the world and help you write some things. And you bring in fucking Craig Mazin, who made one of the best series in the past decade. And you could just tell the care that they're taking to build this world and their attention to detail. There's some shots, man, like even when they're sitting there, their backs are to the screen and they're looking at the plane.
Just eerie thinking about it.
Well, not that. It's just like, I feel like that's a scene I can recreate in the video game where I can just walk and like look over and the characters will look, and the way the shot is framed, it's like, I think they do pay attention to shit like that, and it does feel authentic, and it's pretty incredible, I think, what they've been able to do so far. I mean, even the clickers just look so good. They sound so good. The sound design is there. The cinematography is there. The performances are there. The direction's there. So right now, I really just don't have any complaints. I think it's really running along smoothly. And even though we're only 3 episodes in, we still have 6 more left. And like, we've barely even scratched the surface here of what this world and story is about. So yeah, I'm more than excited than to keep going. I mean, it's like weekly television at its best, I feel like. And that's what HBO has just done well for so long. I mean, thinking about it, you said it before, like House of the Dragon into White Lotus into this, into Succession, like back the fuck up, everybody else.
Well, it's
A
funny.
well-oiled machine right now with HBO.
We got those average numbers, and obviously The Last of Us still has a little ways to go here, but it's second to House of the Dragon, which averaged 29 million viewers per episode. Right now it's averaging around 21. But those have been the top 4. House of the Dragon, The Last of Us, well, Euphoria was number 3, and then The White Lotus was number 5.
Damn.
So, I mean, we haven't reviewed Euphoria. Based on what the internet says about it, it's either the worst or best show ever, or a combination of both.
Which is
happening
fine
all the
for
time.
ratings, right?
Yeah, no, I imagine HBO doesn't give a fuck. So I think people have been a bit surprised by how popular it is, but I saw somebody on Twitter, just some random reply, that the video game industry is huge. So you have millions, tens of millions of people who know what this already is. And it does skew younger, but I've seen a lot of people, some of our followers say, I'm introducing this to my mom or to my dad or to my sister, and they're absolutely loving it. And then I tell them that it's based off a video game, and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Damn, maybe I should start gaming.
I don't think I've seen like any real criticism. The only like criticism I've seen of the show is like that Last of Us, like woke Last of Us.
I was gonna say,
isn't-
did they get backlash for like having like that?
I mean, I certainly saw comments that were
Yeah.
super
Prominent.
homophobic
Yeah.
and really offensive.
But even before that, you knew it was going to come because of the reaction to
yeah.
part 2 and
Right.
a lot of
Yeah.
the fans not liking Neil Druckmann. But that's not real criticism. I don't.
Neil
in
Druckmann?
my mind, I think maybe in certain circumstances you can pick and choose, like especially like you said, maybe if the story is surface level when it does touch upon these things, or it's like thrown in there just to like pat yourself on the back, but like it's taken. First of all, 2 characters being gay does not make your show woke, and that's what I think a lot of that shit's turning into. Where it's like,
Yeah.
when if it's just a woman character or a person of color or LGBTQ character, then it's like, well, woke fucking show. When it's just like, that's the lowest level of criticism. Like, actually watch it and then. But that's like a whole nother story. I think for the most part, people have been like fans of the game, new people to the game, have just enjoyed the ride and the storytelling. And yeah, I saw last episode being a little, hit or miss for some people. But for the most part, like the people who didn't like that episode, like the legit criticisms are from where Teddy was coming from, where
Right.
it was a deviation from the main narrative that really leaves, it doesn't really do much for them in that regard, and which is fine. So yeah, like I said, everything else surrounding it, just technically it's wonderful, and I think the story is there. There's been no deviation from the story apart from that, but like nothing major to like
nothing that changed the story.
make it unrecognizable from what it was. Maybe
I don't
like
think they
little
will, though. I
small
think they're-
things like the fungus being what is it,
The tendrils,
yeah, instead of the gas,
which
right?
to me is a good change.
Well, their
it's so
explanation
It's so
creepy.
unrealistic too. I feel like with the pores or whatever the
spores, yeah. I think their explanation for it was like the spores aren't like, they just didn't want to have spots with spores that like didn't spread, and they thought might be a little confusing. And the tendrils
Well, you
are
talked
actually
about the
something.
logistics of the outbreak.
Yeah.
Them trying to explain that the spores only are in certain spots would be way too hard, because people would be like, that's not realistic.
I don't think I would care, to be honest, but
Well, they've talked about introducing maybe some spores in season 2.
mhm.
So maybe they'll just have to be like, yo, it's a sci-fi show. Stop overthinking it, man. It's the same thing in the game, right? That happens all the time in video games. This isn't realistic, but it makes it fun.
I did see one like it was like a video people were making fun of, and it's just so ridiculous. Like trying to criticize Bill and Frank. It's like, kids are watching, and people are like,
why are they watching that?
yeah,
What are
like, why are
talking
you letting
about?
your kids watch The Last of Us at 9 p.m. on HBO?
That's like when somebody gets elected president, and they're like, how am I supposed to tell my 6-year-old child? Like, they're not,
You don't.
They don't know what that means. Like, this so-and-so is president now. The kid's going to be like,
I want to make this statement.
can you make cookies?
Frank could have been a girl, and it wouldn't have worked for me either. I don't want to say that.
No,
I don't want to leave that door
listen,
open.
Nobody's going
I was thinking it.
It wouldn't have worked, regardless for me.
to... Well, with a platform, you do see it sometimes, even with us, when we're critical of certain shows or movies.
I know we're pretty far in now. Too.
Sometimes
No one's
people are
probably
going to take it there. That's just part of the job. And I think that with your criticisms, people might take it there as well. But I think that I've seen a lot of people share your complaints that it's not about what's being portrayed. It's just you wanted to see Bill from the games.
Yeah.
And I mean, that always happens with adaptations, so it's nothing new.
The people who criticize it for that, they don't
shy away.
That's
from
all
it.
they care about. Or like that's the main thing. It's like they don't really understand or watch the story, and then make criticisms based off that. They make them based off of
what they just saw.
Yeah, or what the character is. So.
And it's such a loving and genuine relationship. They're not calling attention to, look how great I am for portraying this. You know, shouldn't you put me up on a pedestal?
That's what I said. That's like the one like.
Because sometimes that does happen. That's been the big criticism of the Endgame scene when all the female superheroes gather together. It's just like, this is clearly Disney trying to make up for almost a decade of no movies centered around female characters. That shit's
very easy and very it's very transparent for a lot of people, no matter what you think of it. And like that always like gets pointed out, but it's always like the before. It's like even before something comes out, when people have their opinions on it, that's like when it gets into that territory. But yeah, it's not that at all. It was just a genuine, authentic look at two people in this world together. And I think that's where you're going to see the connection going forward, is viewing what's possible or what you can achieve, even though everything around you is just decaying, that there still is hope. And hopefully they're able to tie those themes into our main characters and the rest of their journey. And it's not something where you're going to be like maybe even conscious of, but when you sit back and think about it, you might like just think back to Bill and Frank and what they were doing and be like, oh wow, that's actually coming together.
It's there now. So, and I think it's going to have that sort of impact on the characters and on the viewers. And also from a social perspective, it's, we can commend them for doing a good job. And it's also, I imagine from the LGBTQ community, it's about damn time that we started seeing relationships like this portrayed. Whether if it's good or bad, it's just good to see it.
Well, it's like you said, they did it with care. It's not like they just threw it in.
Yeah, it's not Star Wars being like, oh, this character at the end.
Yeah.
Right, they're going to kiss each other.
Same-sex kiss.
Yeah.
We did it.
Let's go home, boys.
We've solved all social issues. But speaking to your point about people coming into the show with preconceived notions of what it's going to be, the casting of Bella Ramsey, I mean, I know this happens to many actresses and actors where people hate them as soon as they're casted. But shame on people for doing this to Lyanna Mormont. What more did you need to see? She had like 3 scenes in Game of Thrones, and she stole every one of them. She crowned She crowned Jon Snow King of the North. Sorry, I choked on my words there. I wanted to go to King before I said Snow. I would crown Jon King of the North as well. He's great on those touchboards. But what more did you need to see? And I can understand it's not the same role of Lyanna Mormont, but if you can command a room full of all these manly, hardened soldiers, you don't think that she's capable of playing Ellie? And I think she's absolutely killed it.
Yeah. I know no King but Steve Kornacki. So,
Steve Wacky. Yeah.
No, yeah, but
what network is he on again? He's on C-SPAN, right?
Are people still saying it now
King
about
on
her?
the big screen.
MSNBC.
CNN.
It's a good network.
Yeah. Oh, so great. So reputable.
Oh, fake news CNN? Yeah.
What side are you leaning on?
Is she?
Whatever helps my argument.
Fair enough.
No, but like
is she getting flack for her portrayal right now, or are you saying earlier?
No, she's not getting flack now. But before coming into it, fans were like, "It should have been Sadie Sink, or it should have been this one. It should have been that one." And it's like, I think they know what they're doing. HBO's got a pretty good track record.
She didn't do a good job. Then you can give criticisms.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great if the world fucking worked that way, man?
I know.
No, she's been great. Like you said, like from that Lyanna Mormont,
maybe Snake would have been good.
She was like the coolest character on that
show. I'm saying maybe she would have, but she's doing a good job right now.
Yeah. No, I think she's been pretty perfect.
Spot on.
Yeah, no, it is spot on. Sorry to cut you off there.
No,
man.
yeah, and I was saying, like, I talked about it.
But yeah, no, seriously, the voice has been, it's like you hear it and it's like lines from the game.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
definitely, man. Cool.
And what were you saying?
But I don't want to talk because I
let
feel
this man cook.
You're going to jump in on me. We were talking about it on the episode review, like, there's like a line between, like, fun, dynamic kid interested in this world and just being annoying, derailing everything.
She was flirting it for a little bit, but she's back on.
I mean, like, even in the games, there are times you're like, oh, Ellie, come on. Just trying to get through here. You need to be really careful.
Straighten up.
You need to be very quiet. But, like, that's just part of her character, and, like, it is natural, and I think it really lends to her performance lends to, like, the Ellie, like, we all love from the game, and it never, like, really crosses that line where it comes off. If she's annoying, it's because they want it to be or come off that way. It's never to the point where it's like it gets too much or, where's Ellie? Look at the mouth on Ellie.
Doing some wacky things again.
Yeah, look at her. Oh, she's cursing. Now she's cursing at Joel, getting all in his business. It never feels like they're trying to, I guess, what do you call it?
A damsel in distress kind of thing?
No.
I feel like you forget this word.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking
Caricature?
about, right? Yeah. Of what Ellie was in the game. Like, they didn't ramp it up too much where it's like, oh, we need Ellie to be with the comebacks and she needs to be cursing every 10 seconds and really, really bugging Joel. No, they made it like that's how I would assume like a kid growing up in this
12?
environment, like
14.
to be like interested and have questions and ask like fair questions and have a little bit of a,
more mature relationship with Joel?
Yeah, we're just like have a bit of an edge because you grew up in a fucking QZ zone your whole life and don't really know much other than that.
And we could have solved this episode.
Yeah, I think somebody made this point on one of our videos. I think it was the episode 2 review, because you were saying that you thought maybe Ellie, they were getting into it too quickly, some of her quips and her remarks, annoying Joel. And I think they did jump into it more quickly than the game did, where she's a bit more comfortable around Joel, but it's never taken me out of it.
No.
I think the one instance where I was like, okay, I don't know if this makes sense in this circumstance is when she's pretending that she's checking into the hotel. You're making so much noise. When you're surrounded by zombies who specifically, they hear through, they can only see through hearing.
That's from the game too, though.
It is through the game, but it happens a little later in the story. But that's not I'm not going to take a big issue with that, because they've given us also moments, like a really powerful moment from episode 3 is when she tells Joel, don't blame this shit on me, bro. You've been living your life this way for a long, long time. You wanted that battery.
You made this choice, man.
Yeah. And he was just like, oh, respect.
Yeah, I guess.
So
points.
That's a moment that wasn't in the game, but I think that does go a long way for showing Joel that this isn't your ordinary kid. She may have kid-like tendencies at times. She's only 14, and whoever really grows up, you've always got that kid inside of you, but she's hardened because she's been born into this post-apocalyptic world, and she's had this shitty, crummy education, and now look, she's the hope of the entire world is now put on her shoulders. It's like, what the fuck? So, for the most part, their relationship has just been fantastic. And Pedro Pascal, I watch clips of Oberyn Martell, and I think, that's not Pedro Pascal. That's how good of an actor he is, where he can be this saucy, flamboyant, masculine man who is just so unapologetically himself. And then he can play a character like Joel, where he's just so somber and hardened and cold, still has that humanity in him. It's just such a drastic departure from the role of Oberyn, where it's like, is this guy the best actor ever? Or how good is he really? What do we need to start putting him in the conversations for? Because he's just, he can really just do anything. Like his role in Wonder Woman, too. A horrible movie, but who is that? That's not Pedro Pascal. That's some wacky TV con man. He could do everything. And that's just so impressive to me. So, I mean, we all knew it when the casting was announced. It's one of those castings that nobody kind of came up with on their own, but when we heard it, we were like, oh, yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, right, exactly. Everyone's like, oh, Hugh Jackman, Jonah Hill. No, Pedro Pascal.
Jonah Hill?
Some people.
Who?
Certain corners.
Wow. It's a big grant for Jonah.
Imagine.
It's an uphill battle, too, writing Ellie's character also, because it's not easy, because like you fight that cliche of making her annoying and she's not going to be funny or she's going to say the wrong things at the wrong time. So it's not easy writing a character like Ellie to have those quippy remarks that hit in a serious like setting.
No, it's not easy. I mean, this guy over here hates every child actor ever. If you could pass the Aaron test, I think that you've proven that you're a good writer.
Well, it's not that I hate, like, most child actors are just bad. And she's really good. So, like, why criticize? Because because it's a crapshoot.
Criticize,
Shout out to Spider from Avatar. But like nothing could derail a good show or movie worse than like just a terrible child actor that takes up most of the screen time.
No, it is true. It's difficult. But I think with, Bella Ramsey being British, that's always big. Brits just know how to act. They get the better training. And from her performances in fucking Game of Thrones, man, it's like, yo, how did anybody ever doubt this? But that's just funny to me. I mean, the writing could have ruined it, but the writing's been strong, and her performance has been even stronger.
Like that scene when she wakes up and Tess and Joel are grilling her. She didn't say a serious remark the entire time. Where it's like when you're watching it, it's like you would think that she would start taking this serious.
Yeah, and it wasn't ever annoying. I think some of the best lines from that episode came from that back and forth when she says she's just going to throw a fucking sandwich at them. And she's got a reason to be a bit skeptical and a bit, sarcastic with them. She doesn't know them well enough, so. And the relationship between Ellie and Tess got some great development in that episode. So when she is so upset about having to leave with Joel at the end, it feels real. Like those would be real emotions she would experience. It's not like, oh, this is a crazy lady that I've been on this journey with. Damn, it sucks that she's dead.
Yeah. It's
like, no, I like this lady. She respected me. I learned a lot from her in this short period of time. And it's really devastating to have to see her go out like that. So, and Anna Torv, I've said this multiple times now, but to me, over these first 3 episodes, dude, maybe this is what gets me to finally watch Mindhunters, because I know she's got a role in that.
You haven't watched that?
I've never watched Mindhunters.
Oh my God.
It's Fincher, man.
Really not a fan of boring television, but
it's not boring.
Okay.
It's Fincher, man.
Just wanted to piss you guys off.
Was that a dig at me just now?
I just wanted to get a reaction out of you.
Oh.
Just wanted to rile you up. No, I will watch it now for Anna Torv, but that was the strongest performance of the first 3 episodes. And when you see her in the flashback, you're like, oh, Tess is back.
I know, dude. I was so happy seeing her again.
She's hot.
And Joel was so happy.
Yeah,
I don't know if he was happy, but...
It's as close to happy as you can get in that scenario.
Oh,
but a lot of people pointed out that they were with each other for a long time. So
what was the 911 call? Or the 80s music?
Wasn't he? He was blocking something, right? Like if it went too quiet for too long, she was saying.
Oh, yeah, okay. I thought it was maybe like, we're going to die soon, so if you want to come through, take all our shit, you're
hey
good.
Guys, yeah.
But yeah, no, he said it was automatically, every 2 weeks it would send a call if it wasn't like changed or something. Okay.
Yeah, that's how she, that's
had
how
all
they
his
got the
bases
news.
covered, dude.
He was nice, man. He's the king of survival. All right, we're going to take some questions from some of our fans, just generic stuff.
Like about anything or about Last of Us?
Favorite color? Or?
No, not about Last of Us, because so many of our listeners have played the games. So we do have some Last of Us questions here, none that are spoilers. But
can you ask some questions like people asking what's going to happen? Like asking what we think's going to happen, and I can just say it and act like I called it?
No.
All right.
No, what the hell is wrong with you?
That's for the fan to decide.
Yay! People, you call up to the show, you better be ready. That's what you're supposed to do. Sitting there arguing and you're trying to spell your name and all of this other stuff. It's not your show, it's my show. I'm giving you the opportunity to speak your mind. Don't call up here unless you got something to say.
Okay, we'll start with this one. This is a fun question from Julianne. Which Pedro Pascal is hotter, Oberyn or Joel?
Joel. I like him bitter.
Oberyn.
Yeah, it's got to be Oberyn. Like the one sequence when he's
being
fed the food at the wedding and he starts eyeing down Loras.
He just walks into fucking King's Landing, starts fucking and killing everybody.
This Joel survived an apocalypse. He has no gray hair. He's salt and peppered.
I don't think Joel fucks like
he's
that,
got some of
though.
the gray.
He's salt and peppered.
Do you think Joel fucks like that?
Tess seemed pretty happy.
Yeah, he could.
He's committed.
But I know
It's a
Oberyn.
one-woman-
I know Oberyn does.
No, I mean, the fan cams of Oberyn, there's just more potential there for a sexy-ass fan cam, so it's got to be Oberyn.
Least sexy Mandalorian. It's just a guy in a metal suit.
He's got the plaid shirt, jeans, boots.
And the
Bruised
Mandalorian?
Do you believe those reports that he's frustrated by not being able to show his face? I think I'm frustrated by it. At this point, it's like, yo, give up the cult, man.
I know.
I'm not interested in that anymore.
Isn't he kicked out?
Well, this season 3 is going to be him about getting some sort of redemption.
Oh.
He's traveling to Mandalore, and he's going to do something stupid, probably with Luke. Luke's going to come in and save the day again.
Wait, is Luke in this whole season?
I actually have that.
Didn't our season 2 finale review age very well?
Yes.
Don't you think so?
I actually have a Lego set of of Luke coming in at the end of Mandalorian. Yeah,
They made a Lego set of that? Wow.
You made it?
No, I didn't make it yet. It's just sitting there. I might make it one day.
I might start collecting. I thought about collecting Legos,
Legos are fun.
but like not opening them, just keeping them in the box.
No, you gotta build them.
All right, this question here from Matt_Samson1. Who is the Tom Brady of television, the undisputed GOAT?
Of television?
That's
Saul
tough.
Goodman.
No, like Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Or am I saying like Walter
Oh,
White?
actor?
Yeah, like
I like
real life
yours. I like
television
yours.
GOAT.
Saul Goodman?
No, like I like your portrayal of the question. Like
I
going that
was thinking
route.
character.
Yeah.
But if we went actor,
If you think Bryan Cranston, like from Seinfeld, like Dead Comedy, prestigious show, Malcolm in the Middle, to Breaking Bad, that's really it. No, he did the Judge show.
well, how many great shows does an actor get on TV? That's what I'm trying to
It's tough,
think.
yeah.
It's like to be on a show that runs multiple
You know,
seasons.
he's like Larry David, maybe, like just decades of fucking.
Regis Philbin.
Yeah,
Most minutes clocked.
You would have to go
Jerry
like
Springer?
the 60 Minutes guy, or like
Don't put Springer in the Philbin class. Come on.
who's the old guy?
That's tasteless.
Alex Trebek,
The
Bob
old guy.
Barker.
No,
RP Alex Trebek.
he's the
Yo.
old guy. He interviews people.
Oh, Larry King.
Yeah, I feel like you would have to go there, right? Just being around.
Well, for a
forever.
long time, it could have been
Michael
Charlie
Strahan,
Rose.
big TV guy.
Yeah,
Wanna
he
go
kept-
character? Oh fuck, that's tough.
I'll only say Saul Goodman because he got the chance to appear in 2 great shows, and he's fantastic in Breaking Bad as a supporting character. And then many people would argue he's the best lead of the universe, and that the Breaking Bad story does way more for his story than any other character. So yeah, or Tony Soprano, just because of maybe the influence, because so many characters after him were directly influenced by how that character was written and portrayed, and so well received in one of the most critically acclaimed shows of all time.
What's the most Emmys, you think? I guess they would be the GOAT or the Tom Brady.
Maybe isn't it Cranston? Doesn't he have 3?
But like, I'm sure like Jimmy Kimmel has like, no, maybe not Jimmy Kimmel. Like one
Right.
of those guys, like David Letterman probably has like 7.
Jon Stewart's got like 15.
Yeah.
Because he was always winning for best variety show. I guess you could factor that in. And they are sort of playing a character.
SNL has the most Emmys awards of all time.
Lorne,
That's crazy.
ooh, I don't like
You got
Lorne.
beef with Lauren. Get in line.
I just hate how everyone just sucks him off. Like everybody from that, like they just idolize him and thank him for everything. Oh, I couldn't. Oh, Lauren, such a Lauren. Oh,
Edward Asner.
He's a big
with 7
dog.
wins.
I know. Like
Who?
Edward Asner with 7 wins.
For what?
He twice won the award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series for his portrayal. Lou Grant in the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Okay. Yeah, no, you have to factor in those old television,
Yeah.
like Lucille Ball.
Lucy, yeah, that's good. Yeah,
that may be the
fuck.
answer. Nobody's putting up Lucy ratings these days.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus is up there.
She's a good
Veep.
option too, man. Seinfeld,
Seinfeld.
Elaine, Veep.
Veep,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's been cleaning up with Veep. Tina Fey,
Well, yeah, maybe
with
like
what
one
she
of those
did
like
with SNL and then 30 Rock.
yeah, one of those like longtime SNL people who couldn't have done it without Lauren.
Katharine Hepburn maintained her lead as
Who?
lead actor. Katharine Hepburn? Hepburn?
Yeah.
Is that her name? Hepburn? She has the most Oscar wins of all time.
Now we're going to
Yeah,
Oscars.
you're just looking at fun facts.
Well, that's interesting conversation, but not part of the question. So we'll just move on here. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to settle on one. We'll just give it to Lucille Ball.
yeah.
This question here again from Matt
Or Catherine
_Samson.
Hepburn.
Catherine
What, is it Hepburn? Hepburn?
Yeah.
Hepburn.
Hepburn. You know Audrey Hepburn?
No.
She's pretty good too. From Matt
I
Sampson.
always forget which one is Kate Blanchett again.
She's Catherine Hepburn.
Yeah, Catherine. Yeah.
From Matt Sampson. Any interest in Mando Season 3, or did Boba Fett ruin it for you guys? I'm interested. I think there's a chance that we're going to review that first episode and see how they do. And if nobody gives a fuck, we're not going to review it anymore.
Yeah.
But
I like that approach.
I said this on
Horrible?
That's it's a hell of a approach.
I said this recently on a recording I did where my expectations for Star Wars are just I'll watch it when it comes out and I'll judge it at the time. I can't get so hyped. Am I excited for Mandalorian Season 3? Not really.
Me neither.
Because what they did, even though I didn't love the ending of Season 2, you gotta wait until at least the middle of Season 3 to give us that reunion. The cat's out of the bag, right? If I'm spoiling this for someone, sorry, because Boba Fett's been out, and those clips have been all over the internet. They got 3 episodes with Mando and Grogu. So that really does hurt the hype for me. I don't know how other people feel. A lot of people just love Grogu, so they don't give a fuck. They just want to see that green little buddy. I'm not in squish territory just yet.
You getting there?
Maybe. It depends on the quality of the show. But I was interested in the politics of Mandalore and who's got the sword, even though it was very convenient. But I'm a sucker for that type of shit. So I was super frustrated by Luke Skywalker hijacking the show. I'll stand by that. I don't think they're going to do that in Season 3. I think maybe they've learned their lesson of it needs to be about Mando. And there's some interesting things that we can play with here, some interesting ideas. So I hope that's the route they take. But
I don't know.
I'm
I think
not
me and
really
you in the
that
minority.
excited. No, but I think
And
that
they're going to drill home with Luke.
maybe people do like that sequence and they're happy that Luke appeared, but I think including the reunion in Boba Fett has turned a lot of people off where they're like,
No.
what the fuck was the point of that
Boba
then?
Fett was the most egregious thing, and maybe the history of the world.
I heard nothing but bad things about Boba Fett. I
It's
didn't
not
watch
even
it.
that
It's
it's,
not even that
so
it's bad,
It's
it's
just, what are you doing?
Yeah. They literally
Why?
turns into turns into Mandalorian. Like it just you're watching Boba Fett. Oh yeah, Boba Fett. Ooh, yeah, cool, whatever. And then it just turns into the Mandalorian for like 2 episodes.
Dude, and they adapted
wouldn't
one
hate
of the
that.
villains.
You guys didn't like that?
No, it was the best part, but it's like, what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah.
They adapted a villain from the cartoons, bounty hunter Cad Bane. Perfect live action adaptation of a cartoon. The voice, the makeup, the look of the character, the presence. Then they killed him off. Why not? If you had such a great portrayal of that villain who Star Wars fans absolutely adore, why wouldn't you just embrace that? Boba versus Cad Bane. Dude, Nash was sending me clips of Cad Bane, being like, who the fuck is this? This guy's awesome. Nash! Like the
Wow.
Star Wars character.
Wow.
And then they just flushed it down the fucking toilet. So, yeah, Boba Fett, man, what are you doing?
Well, you guys said Andor was good, right? I got to watch it. I haven't watched
Andor
Andor
was
yet.
really good.
Really good, yeah. And I've got some from a source, some rumblings about Season 2. Ooh, it's going to be fun.
That actor looks like Pedro
Yeah,
Pascal.
yeah.
actually.
I got sources. I got sauces.
Bro thinks he's Chris Broussard.
Well, I am Chris Broussard because I only got like a couple. I'm not Woj. So are you guys excited? Mando Season 3?
Yeah.
I'll watch it when it
Oh,
comes
yeah,
out.
I'll watch.
This question here from Movies and Weed. How many seasons would you like for The Last of Us?
2.
I mean, we're a bit like,
I don't want it to go too much. I don't want to turn to The Walking Dead.
but like the game.
I feel like you can stretch it out long. Like you can stretch the game out for 2 seasons each, maybe.
But like,
But
there's still
I don't
more.
want too much of it.
Like the game doesn't end, and I think they are talking about a part 3, right? I think like 4 or 5 seasons would be nice.
Dude, that's what I'm saying because Druckmann, some of his quotes they're conflicting because in one breath he's saying, I think that, well, he said years ago that he wanted to do part 3 and that the story was already there. And now he's saying, well, if we can think of a good enough story that celebrates the themes of humanity, then we'll do it. And it's like, what the hell? And then you hear that they want to stick to the stories of the games, not diverge too much, but that part 2 won't be adapted in 1 season. So that, at the very least, I think 3 is going to be necessary. But then part 3 is not available. It's not even out there yet. So it would then have to go to seasons 4, possibly seasons 5. Because you imagine part 3 is going to be a huge game. Part 2 was massive.
Yeah.
You know what helps? Is having Druckmann on board with the show.
It does, yeah, where he's way more involved than George was with Game of Thrones. And they've said we're not going to go past. So I think it could be an instance of, like, I'm trying to think of a comparison. Like Curb Your Enthusiasm, where you have a season and then they take maybe a 2-year break. In today's world, you don't want to kill the momentum and the hype of your show. But I think that with the story not being finished, they do have to wait, and it will benefit the show to allow certain characters time to age. So I think 4 to 5 seasons is what we're in store for. I really do. Especially with the numbers that this show is putting up 2 seasons. Can you
Zombies-
imagine
zombies
going to
sell,
Mr.
man.
HBO and saying, yeah, we're only going to do 2 seasons?
I mean, it's such a
Just
big
smack you in
world
the head.
too. There's route for spinoffs. Like
There's route,
we're not
yo,
we're not
this-
leaving Last of Us world
Firefly spinoff, man.
anytime soon.
The origins of the Fireflies? Come on.
Damn.
Can't call it Firefly, but
Hell, you can't.
The Last of the Fireflies.
that'd be crazy. Okay, we're getting somewhere. We're touching on it.
I think that's more of a.
Is your source connected with HBO?
All right, this question here from _Connor Joseph _ favorite post-apocalyptic film / world. Mine is Children of Men. Children of Men is always on the top of everybody's list for good reason. I mean, it's between Order and the Phoenix and Children of Men for Karan's best, in my opinion. But I have to go Mad Max.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, like Waterworld is cool, but like the movie just kind of sucks.
I've never seen Waterworld.
Oh, there's
No. Kevin, you know who loves that movie? Skip Bayless.
yeah, that makes sense.
I Am Legend I love.
That's a big one for a lot of people, man. I
Yeah,
think I
that's
Am Legend
cool.
it was weird. People wanted it to be so much more, but I think what we got was good enough. It's iconic.
Planet of the Apes. I mean,
the latest trilogy. Jesus fucking Christ.
well, that's not post. Is it post?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, civilization is broken down to
But
an
it's like
extent.
in the middle of like.
Yeah, the first one, not so much.
What, the George Clooney movie? Is that's not post-apocalyptic, right? No, when he's at the bar with the vampires or the whatever they were.
Oh, From Dusk Till Dawn?
Yeah. That's not right. That's just that one bar.
No, but
Like an
that is
underground
fun.
thing?
Yeah. Salma Hayek in that movie. Holy smokes.
Mad Max, man. I was watching that like a couple months ago. It's so good. Fury Road.
Yeah, for post-apocalyptic worlds, I remember at the time Marissa made this point, you rarely see them portrayed with so much color. Everything's always got to be doled out and grayed. That's what I've loved about The Last of Us, too, is that it's been very colorful. It doesn't have that sort of filter of being dull and depressing, even though it is dull and depressing. Well, more so depressing. I had another choice. War of the Worlds, I think, is super underrated. That's sort of in the midst of being a post-apocalyptic world, but the action set pieces in that boy, how was that not well received? I don't get it. People didn't like that movie when it fucking came out.
I hated the sun.
Am I on
Fantastic.
the minority with the Book of Eli? Was that a good movie? I like it.
Yeah, no, you are, but
All right.
Denzel,
I
right?
like Denzel in it.
Mila Kunis, right, is his assistant, his buddy.
I have like a bad relationship with that movie
My taste in movies suck, dude.
because
Hey, man, stand by your shit. What was your first choice?
I Am Legend.
There you go.
I tried to watch Book of Eli like 4 different times, and every time I was like an hour or hour and a half in, like something would happen that like it's like I couldn't, like I had to either like an emergency or like it just kept getting cut off where I couldn't finish the movie, so I never tried to watch it again.
You gotta finish it, man.
It's the Bible.
I know,
Why are you ruining it?
but it was weird. Like
You didn't know that.
three different times I tried to watch this movie.
He said
Something
he knew.
happened where I'm like I had to like
I
do
would too
something
if you told
else.
me it. I'd say, yeah, I know.
I like when he gets the boots. It's like, oh, there's boots.
This question here for Aaron. Aaron, you have a 3-on-2 fast break with Beau and Teddy on the wings. Keeping or dishing?
3-on-2, you both on the wings.
Yeah.
I'd probably make them collapse in on me and kick out to one of you guys for the 3.
Yeah, who?
Oh, you know how that would go. I'd cut to the rim, ball goes out of bounds. Miscommunication. Fuck.
I thought you were staying here.
Yeah, you're supposed to stay in the corner.
It depends because I'm probably going right because that's like I'm not dribbling left, and then whoever's on my right side is getting that ball.
Well, whenever we used to do 2-on-1s in high school, I always used to pull up for a little midi.
Well, I remember Nash telling the story that he got freaked out on for shooting a mid-range.
Oh, that was hilarious because Albano used to hate, which is a really dumb shot, right inside the 3-point arc.
Yeah.
He shot and he swished it, cashed it from the corner.
Yeah.
And Albano's like, why the fuck wouldn't you take a couple steps back?
So annoying.
I know, right? You make the
Yeah.
shot.
know.
It's like, yo, good shot, but work on your awareness there. That could have been worth 3 points. Gets the message across, doesn't it?
Nice shot. Keep it up.
Yeah, good form.
Watch the feet
Square
next
to the basket.
No, it's so fun when he tried out for football when he made like a It was just a regular catch. And he's like, yeah. Like, he was like, kind of like, you guys like that? And the coach just fucking freaked out on him.
It destroyed his will to play, right?
Destroyed his confidence. But yeah. I think it was like a one-handed grab, but like I don't know if it was super necessary. He's like, yeah, you like that shit? And they're like, they
made him run.
Reamed into him. I'm Euroing into the double, trying to draw the foul. And one.
I always hate the argument too, because then when you stand on the 3-point line and you don't cut, they're like, cut. And then when you do cut, they pass it and it goes out of bounds.
I shot a ball for the first time just shooting around the other day, and it's just a fun thing to do.
I was bowling a couple of days ago at the gym.
Just taking shots.
Best game in the world.
It really is.
It's ageless, man. You can
I said it
play
to my
whenever you
friend.
want.
It's like you never know. Like the easiest way to tell how unathletic someone is just throw them a basketball and watch them shoot around.
A bad basketball player, there's no hiding it. Like football, you could be like, oh, he can run.
Fast, just strong, or tough.
And then you realize, he's not so great at catching, or he doesn't have great IQ. But basketball, it's like CJ, great athlete for hockey, but on a basketball court, it was just clueless.
That was you.
That was loud.
About to turn the attention on you this week after I got fucking full court pressed.
You had one today. I heard it.
I think it gets underrated, the skill that goes into basketball, because you watch it and you think, if I'm not 6'5", I can't play professionally. They have such an advantage. But my counter to that is, what's more of an advantage, being born with incredible height or being born with superhuman hand-eye coordination where you're able to hit a baseball? Isn't it the same thing? You need to have that. If you're not born with that, you can't play you can't learn superhuman hand-eye coordination, just like you can't learn height. So I think a lot of the skill does get taken for granted, but it would be fun to watch like a 6 feet and under basketball league where it's just all ballers, like all hot sauces and shit.
Hell yeah.
Just cross some motherfuckers up.
6-foot kids that can just yam it.
All right, we're going to take a DC question and then wrap it up. That's always fun. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but all the new announcements from James Gunn. So this question here from Cater_Jashane. What are your thoughts on James Gunn's announcements for future DC projects? Just give our quick thoughts.
I don't want to do another Batman casting.
That's
speculation.
Really bothered me. It really did, because everyone was like, James Gunn's going to clean the slate. And he's just doing what they've been doing for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
He's doubling down on it.
But it makes me feel like that's going to get, like, Pattinson and Reeves are going to get pushed out. Like, we'll give you the second one, but, like, once that's done, we're going to focus here on our thing.
Definitely. I think that could definitely happen.
Otherwise, like, am I happy we're getting a Superman movie? Yes. Am I happy that we're getting an on-screen Robin? Albeit Damian, who is not my least favorite Robin, but I wanted Dick Grayson. I like Jason Todd. I like Tim Drake more than Damian.
What the fuck?
What?
That's bad taste in Robins.
I mean, Damian is... I feel like you got to, like, ease your way into
He's a
Damian.
little murder boy wonder.
But, like,
it's the most fun dynamic.
Yeah, of course. He's Batman that kills. But...
he's a little asshole.
That's your first Robin we're going to be introduced to, live action, since fucking...
Dick had his chance.
When in the
Joseph
90s?
Gordon-Levitt. Let's get to the good Robin. His middle name was Robin.
Yeah.
Therefore, he's Robin.
Just give us Dick Grayson. Even Jason Todd. Jason Todd's a fun
dynamic. The Dick Grayson
dynamic.
relationship is...
Jason Todd's a fun dynamic.
Yeah, it is. James Gunn did mention the Bat family,
sucks,
so they're going to be... Marissa loves Tim Drake. They're going to be around. I think we'll see cameos from Nightwing. Yeah, he'll be in his
Red
city.
Robin and Red Hood. That's cool. It reminds me of, like, they're going, like, maybe a movie route. Like, you know when you get a new Batman movie, but it's already firmly into the established storyline they're doing? Like, you'll get a new Batman movie and it'll just be Damian. Like, that's just, and it'll come out of nowhere. They don't need to set up that movie with backstory or how it got there, because there's so many other comics and movies. They just expect you to be like, this is what it is. So I like how they're jumping in like that. They're everything's kind of already established, and we're getting our chance to take a peek into this world. But yeah, I don't want to do another, Jake Gyllenhaal. Let's do, Armie Hammer used to be a big one, but he can't play Batman now.
Well, it's also weird because you need to get an older Batman for this.
Pedro Pascal.
Because with Damian being just alive, that means Batman's a bit older.
They always make Talia al Ghul so goddamn hot in the animated shows.
Yes, I do.
You ever see her when she's come, like, Robin's mom? God damn it.
She's on in the video game, too.
Yeah. And in the movie.
But that's why it's so frustrating that I don't know if Matt Reeves was like, listen, I don't want to be a part of this, but he respects Matt Reeves so much as a filmmaker that he's going to give him the part 2. But I wouldn't be surprised if we never do get that part 3, or if any of these HBO shows never come into fruition.
Yeah.
Those are definitely on the fucking chopping block, because there was nothing in the announcement about those shows, I'm pretty sure. You know, we got the Superman semi-origin story.
Excited
Booster
about that.
Gold.
Yeah.
One of the DC teams of anti-heroes.
Yeah, but some of the choices were weird.
Well, I guess it is going to his master plan where he knows he wants to use certain pieces when they do eventually get to the Justice League.
But like that
teaming
first
up.
wave, you're not going to include...
Well, there's also rumors that Momoa and Gal Gadot will just eventually show up, where maybe those movies aren't canon, but they're still playing those characters.
What about The Flash?
Well, they
Isn't he still
complimented
in
The
it?
Flash as
Yeah.
one of the best superhero movies ever made. That's straight from James Gunn.
Yeah.
And I do have another source, actually, who's...
Oh, yeah, I know this one.
Yeah, Aaron knows, too. I've heard it's an abomination. And that not only is it just
it's
a bad movie,
wild.
but that it spits on some of the legacies of the characters that it includes. Or it's not that it spits on it, but it wasn't necessary. So
Yeah,
that's this year, I guess.
Yeah, so like...
New trailer coming Super Bowl Sunday. I feel the same way about DC that I feel with Star Wars.
mean,
I'll watch it when it comes out. I can't say I'm excited.
The Lanterns I like. I mean, I just wanted to keep it basic. Like, I feel like too much to bite off. Like 10 projects for your first wave, and half of them are characters that like establish what you know, establish what people want, and then build off of that. That's what Marvel did. And give us a Green Arrow movie, or have him be a feature in something.
That would be hot.
You know, we already had, like, are we going to bring back Margot Robbie as Black Canary? Like, that's another huge character that, you know, we have someone playing, but those movies still valid. I don't know.
That's a good way to end it.
But then it's also like they had this slate, and it's like, oh, Elseworlds, Batman 2, Joker 2, and it's so weird how people, like, how they're, like, the untitled Superman movie. There's like Elseworlds, like, Black Superman movie. It's like they can't think of a better way or a more creative way to have a working title. It's just Black Superman movie.
I'm excited for that too, but it's also, what are you doing? Why not just make that the Superman? But I also think that may never come out. Ta-Nehisi Coates and J.J. Abrams collaborating on that. What's the future for this? Are they going the multiversal route where eventually they're going to bring all these characters together? But it just feels too ambitious. Like Marvel, they plan now, but it all came so naturally, and now they can plan. But some people will say, hey, they're planning too much, and it's sort of hurting the anticipation and the quality of the shows. So I would have really loved we're going clean slate. And if you couldn't get Pattinson on board and Reeves on board to be a part of your universe, then you say, yeah, we'll give them a trilogy, but that's it. That's the only Elseworlds we're going to do. But
It's just weird. Like, they're probably going to release very close together. And I get, like, that's the movies, live action is the only medium where that is a thing, because, like, if DC Animation drops a Batman solo story separate from, like, I guess maybe their newest arc, I'm not going to care. You're going to get different voice actors, and in your mind, you're just like, okay, this is this Batman story, and this is the one that's going to connect to, like, the Justice League movies and stuff like that, or prior movies. But it's just something about visual, like, with live action, it's just confusing, I feel like. So if these movies drop, like, within a year apart, you don't think people are going to be like, wait, what the fuck is going on?
oh yeah, definitely, especially with a character like Batman. I mean, if this does come out, we're going to have 15 different versions of 5 different versions of Batman in less than 15 years, going from 2012 to 2025.
Yeah, Bale,
Affleck, Pattinson, Keaton's coming back.
Keaton, yeah.
Now new Batman.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
I would pay to see it, actually. All right, we'll end it there. Ted, you got any last thoughts?
On that?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, yeah. Thank you guys for listening. So DC's still a mess. T-Lou's good.
What's Blue Beetle? Is that still a thing?
I think so.
Blue Beetle.
I like Blue Beetle, but, like, is that part of the thing? The new... I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Well, come back for next week, because we will be reviewing The Last of Us Episode 4. And maybe when we get to Episode 6, we'll do another one of these sort of spoiler discussions, recapping the second third of the first season. So that'll be fun. Aaron, Teddy, thank you guys for joining me. And I am Beau Oliver, signing off. Thought you guys would say something.
I couldn't think of anything. Anything for you, Ted?
I mean, I was gonna say, I hope the next one doesn't suck, but
Wow, that was probably our best review yet. Hey guys, Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey here with a brief shameless plug before we end the video. Do you ever feel like you don't have an adequate amount of nerd soup in your life? Like you're going to bed hungry and yearning for the nonsensical yet entertaining nutrients our podcasts provide? Well, we've come up with the perfect solution. The Nerd Soup Fan Question Podcasts, exclusively available to our Patreon supporters. You can sign up now by visiting patreon.com/nerdsoup, and for the price of only $1 per month, you'll receive exclusive access to our weekly podcast where we answer your questions that don't make it to the main show. And while you're there, you can check out the other rewards we offer to our patrons, like stickers, mugs, t-shirts, behind-the-scenes footage, and appearing in the credits at the end of our videos. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Roll the names of the nerds who make Nerd Soup possible. The reason why the crypto crash didn't send our lives spiraling down a black hole of no return. Alright, I'll stop talking so you can listen to this jazzy-ass music while checking if Beau spelt your name wrong in the credits.